Hello everybody, thank you for joining us today and welcome to November. So are you a November baby? What does your birth colour say about you? Well, firstly, your birth colour is Claret Red. So this is a deeper, darker red and it aids transformation, promotes physical love and awakens the libido. For those of you who are a November baby, are you intense and passionate? It inspires depth, strength and love. And the Claret Red helps you stay inspired as you build on your dreams and ambitions. So, exploring this beautiful Claret Red colour palette, I'm going to introduce you to 11 different varieties of flower that will actually explore the tones and the tints of this claret colour. I'm going to start with Astilbe, and this particular variety of Astilbe is called SCHLUC. It is really delicate and light, frondy, almost feathery actually, and it touches on the raspberry tone of claret. So it's a really soft colour, so it works really well blending with some of the deeper and some of the slightly lighter tints. That's Astilbe. And I'm going to move on to Carnation. Now this particular carnation is called Zurringo. It's very much at the deeper, darker end of the Claret Red. Really rich tone. Now carnations obviously are such a good flower. They have a huge shelf life, so very useful in arrangements because you know they're going to last well. They work quite happily as well in oasis and in just fresh water. So a really usable flower. What you will find quite often though is they come in quite tight bud. So just to get them to flower that little bit more quickly, you can just slightly delicately nip the calyx, and as you turn it round, just fluff the blooms out. So that's our carnation. Again, slightly darker in tone. Next I'm going to move on to Hellebore. Now Hellebores are one of my favourite flowers, I have to say. This particular variety is called Queens Red. Now this tends to hit the purpley sort of aubergine end of the claret scale. So it's got that beautiful blush aubergine petal. Now they're really lovely in the respect that they have that sort of soft, droopy, natural effect. So really useful for a winter wedding, useful also for anything really that you want a little bit of texture and a little bit of movement in. The stamens do actually lose a little bit of their pollen, so if you are a little bit allergic to pollen, this is probably one to avoid really. That's Hellebore. Next I'm going to move on to a Germini, or mini gerber if you like. This particular one is a Pomponnet variety. It's called Ruby Ruby, and it very much touches on the redder tones of claret. This is a really useful flower to use as a substitute if you can't get dahlias. It works well as a focal flower. It's multi-petaled, so it has that blousy feel to it. I would always advocate, if you're using gerbers though, that you do wire them. That helps to actually position the head where you want it to. So a little bit of a trick of the trade if you like. So that's Germini, Pomponnet, Ruby Ruby. As I said, the redder end of the scale. Next I'm going to move on to Ranunculus. Now this Ranunculus is a Cloony variety and it's actually called Cherry. So this is Cloony Cherry. Absolutely beautiful Ranunculus. The Cloony varieties are definitely worth the extra money because they're bigger, the stems are stronger. They have so many petals, so they're multi-petaled, almost peony-esque. I have actually known people to use the large Ranunculus as a peony substitute if you can't get peonies. So for example, this time of the year you'd struggle to get peonies. So although perhaps slightly smaller than a peony would be, it still gives you that blousy feel. This particular variety does touch on the slightly more raspberry tones of claret. So yeah, that's our Ranunculus. Next I'm going to move on to Calla lily. Now this Calla lily is called Red Charm. Now interestingly, this actually brings in tones of different coloured claret within the same flower. So you've got almost like a brick red further down into the deep start of the petal, and as the petal progresses to the outer tip, you've got a really dark, really almost a black red on the very tip. So yeah, that encompasses almost the whole colour palette really, apart from the raspberry tone. The lovely thing about Calla lilies is they are so versatile. If you warm the stems, you can actually manipulate them and make beautiful shapes with them. So they sit quite nicely in fish bowls, and you can curl them around to do some design ideas. So yeah, that's our Calla lily, Red Charm. Now next, I've been very spoiled here in the respect that we've got a Cymbidium orchid. Now this is absolutely magnificent. The variety is called Ferrari, and you can actually understand why, because it is almost the sports car of the flower world. So it does encompass several of the colour tones of claret. So you've got that really deep dark red on the edge, and then progressing to that raspberry tone here with a deep burgundy stripe through the centre of the petal. Now, the beautiful thing about Cymbidiums is they have a really long shelf life. They are quite versatile because you can remove some of the lower blooms to do a very small, tight, clustered style arrangement, or you can leave them in their magnificence, keep the stem long, just pop it perhaps into a cylinder vase or something tall and architectural. And it really does bring a touch of, I would say, extravagance to your arrangement. So that's our Cymbidium Ferrari. Next I'm going to move on to Skimmia. Now this is Skimmia Japonica. This is actually a shrub. The flowers on it have that beautiful claret colour tone, and that's more of a red claret. You do get a variety of tones because some of the blooms that aren't quite so fully developed have that paler, almost pink feel to them, and then as they do develop that little bit more, you'll find that claret colour does come out. Now, Skimmia, as I say, is a shrub, so it does need to be conditioned properly before you use it. It's one of the woody stems, so I would slit the stem up slightly when you're conditioning it so that it actually opens up a slightly more cell structure to the water. Such longevity with the Skimmia. I've actually had arrangements in my house at Christmas time actually, before now, using Skimmia. It's actually lasted for 6 weeks, even in an indoor environment. So yeah, really useful shrub, that one. And again, like the Astilbe, it does add that soft texture. So for a textured arrangement, absolutely perfect. Next, we go down a slightly more tropical path, possibly. Now this is actually Leucadendron Safari Sunset. It looks almost protea-like, though it isn't part of the protea family. And again, it has different colour tones. I'm just going to bend the leaves back slightly so you can see what I mean. As I bend them back, you'll notice that the outer leaves are a really dark, almost black claret here, then going into a slightly warmer colour before you get to the end tip, which again is quite dark. But in the centre, if I can open this up, it's quite green. So by bending the petals back, or the leaves back I should say, you'll notice that that green disappears and you remain with the burgundy claret colour. Okay. Now next we have quite an exciting bloom. This one is Anthurium. Now this variety is called Safari. Now this flower has a wide range of tones and tints from the Claret colour palette. So you can see we've got this very, very brick red tone here, going to the darker, deeper tone around the outside, and then we've almost got a pale blush pink, almost then into peach stamen. So it does include a huge amount of colours. You've even got almost an ivory stripe down the centre. So you can add that to so many different colour schemes. Peach would work really well with this, pink would work well with this, or you could go back to the whole of the Claret colour palette and work in with that. So you're very useful. It has a really long shelf life. Not everybody's cup of tea. It's on one of the exotic scales, shall we say. So it doesn't really like to be put in the cold environment. So put it into a warmer domestic environment when you condition it. Perfect for that sculptural arrangement, for that architectural arrangement, or something corporate. Really does give you a focal point. So that's our Anthurium. Last but by no means least, I have some ANIGOZANTHOS. This variety is called Early Spring, and again you've got two different colour tones in this. So you've got almost a brick red at the base, then going into a deeper, darker tone at the end, which is almost a black claret. And interestingly enough, you've got the claret colouring on the stems as well. So yeah, very texturised this, almost looks like fur. You might know it as kangaroo paws. Actually, when you hold the bloom up, you can almost see why it gets its name kangaroo paws. It does feel almost like velvet, so a very tactile flower to use. So that's our kangaroo paws. Now, I've gone through all of the fresh products, but we do also have a huge selection of sundry items that you could use to reinforce this colour palette. So I have a selection of ribbons here that are available on our website, and also we have these beautiful pepper berries. So stay tuned for lots more videos on how to incorporate this colour palette into a wide variety of arrangements. So we're going to be focusing on 5 different types of arrangement in different areas, if you like. So we're going to be doing weddings, funerals, home decor, corporate and simple vase design. Hopefully we'll inspire you to have a go yourselves. So are you a November baby? How accurate is this colour profile for you? Comment in the box below because we'd love to know your thoughts. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like us, share us with your friends, family and flower cubs, and also don't forget to visit our YouTube channel for more inspirational videos and tips and hints. Thanks so much for watching. We look forward to welcoming you back again very soon. Bye for now.